What's good, everybody? It's BBKDRAGOON here with another weapon review today of the Nameless Midnight. This is a scout rifle every player needs to have available in their kit, representing one of the best DPS dealing scout rifles in the game right now for PvE in the legendary kinetic slot. Just as a fair warning to the viewers, I'll be using footage from the Leviathan raid in this review, so if you don't want to have any of the imagery from the final boss room spoiled for you, you'll want to exit the video now. This weapon can be acquired from Zavala, so start leveling up your rep by completing strikes, and exchanging those tokens with Zavala for a chance at this scout rifle. You may have noticed during the Leviathan World First runs, many players were using Nameless Midnight in their kinetic slot. This is because in PvE right now, the Nameless Midnight represents one of the best damage-dealing legendaries in the game. This scout packs a serious punch, has excellent handling, very far out damage drop-off point, and allows you to leave open an exotic slot for something like Merciless or Cold Heart. Nameless Midnight can also be quite good in PvP, and we'll cover that later in the video. The main perk of the Midnight is Explosive Payload, in which projectiles create area of effect detonations upon impact, making for solid DPS when enemies are grouped tightly together. However, even if it's just a singular target, you still sometimes will see the Explosive Payload perk coming into play. In the second row, you have the option of Flared Magwell, which improves your reload speed and increases the stability of the weapon, making the recoil pretty much even more vertical than it already is. You also have the option of Steady Rounds here, which gives you even better stability but decreases your reload speed and slightly impacts that range stat. I prefer and recommend Flared Magwell over the Steady Rounds, as in PvE, the faster you can reload the weapon equals the more DPS you're going to be able to deal, and I prefer having my range stat be as far out as possible. Your three scope options are the Red Dot 2 MOA, Red Dot Micro, Rifle Scope SSF, with my preference being the Red Dot Micro. The intrinsic perk of the weapon is Precision Frame, making the weapon's recoil pattern predictably vertical. The gun already has a base stability stat that's fantastic, so it pretty much is as close to a laser beam as you're going to get it, so long as you let the shot to reset. So then, when it's all said and done, during the normal strike playlist at a power level of 285, for this test, I was dealing 203 precision damage with the explosive payload, dealing an additional 113 damage per shot on Tier 1 enemies. For Tier 2 enemies, I was dealing 102 precision damage and 57 body damage. The 113 explosive payload damage was still hitting these numbers even on the Tier 2 enemies. And at Tier 3, we see the damage drop down to 59 body and 85 precision damage, with the explosive payload dealing around 47. So, simply put, in PvE, this weapon is an absolute DPS monster. For grouped up enemies, the explosive payload perk is the same as getting extra damage for the same amount of work. The recoil pattern is very easy to manage, and most importantly, this weapon falls into the legendary distinction, meaning it leaves open an exotic slot for either your energy or power weapon slot. This is a big reason why you see a lot of the top tier PvE players like SC Slayerage using this as his go-to kinetic weapon in things like the solo prestige Nightfall run he did this last week. It still allows for super high DPS weapons like the Merciless to sit in your exotic slot. The one key thing to keep in mind with the Nameless Midnight, though, is the small magazine of 16 shots. Now, small being a relative term, because with scout rifles, that's actually a fairly average magazine size. But simply put, you need to land precision shots consistently to capitalize on the Nameless Midnight's true potential. If you're only landing body shots, there's going to be better options out there for damage-dealing weapons. So let the weapon fully reset the recoil before you go in for that next precision shot, and you will be throwing downrange just a ton of damage. How does the scout rifle then perform in PvP? Really well, actually, with 31 precision damage being dealt and 18 body damage with the explosive payload, inflicting usually a second dose of 15 to 17 damage, depending on the situation. Again, the same theme remains here, though. If you land the precision shots, it's only going to take you 6 precision shots and a body shot to take down an opponent. For long sight lines, this weapon can stand up to the Mida, no problem. At mid-ranges, you can still slay effectively, but the weapon becomes far more punishing for dropping your shots in this range. And up close and personal, do yourself a favor and use an auto like the Uriel's or the Origin Story or the Prosecutor, because up close is not where this weapon shines. It really doesn't slay that quickly up close as you would pretty much expect with a scout rifle. Are there situations where enemies are tightly grouped together in PvP where explosive payload is useful? Maybe. I found the weapon, though, to be strong enough to compete in PvP, but not impressive enough for me to try and use it over my Mida multi-tool. The speed buff of the Mida, plus keeping the radar on screen, are just benefits that are too good to give up. I know it's kind of unfair to compare a legendary scout to that of a top-tier exotic, but I still think mentioning the juxtaposition between the two, for PvP at least, is fairly justified. So once again, you could acquire the Nameless Midnight from Zavala rank up engrams, so get playing strikes, start turning in your tokens. This, no doubt, S-tier PvE scout rifle. I think every player should have this available to them. You've got an epic range stat, awesome stability, the bonus DPS that explosive payload offers, all form this combination and creates a very versatile and good choice for PvE players. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed the review, please let me know. Keep the suggestions coming. I am listening to them and trying to acquire weapons for it. The support on the channel has been insane, so if you enjoyed, please subscribe for more Destiny 2 content. Have a great day, Guardians, and we'll talk with you next time.